Good evening, Chair, committee members. I'm Elma Karen, Assistant City Attorney, and I'll be presenting a resolution of the City Council of the City of Oxnard adopting a conflict policy and procurement procedures for design-build projects. This will be in front of the Public Works and Transportation Committee on October 10th, 2023. The recommendation is that the Public Works and Transportation Committee recommend to the City Council to adopt a resolution entitled "A Resolution of the City Council of the City of Oxnard, California, adopting a conflict policy and procurement procedures to allow the city to use the design-build method for certain eligible public projects in accordance with Public Contract Code sections 22-160 through 22-169. Design-build projects combine professional design services and construction services into a single contract with the city. There are a number of benefits over the traditional approach of design-bid-build projects, where separate contracts are awarded for design services and construction. Design-build has been and is the current method used in the private sector construction. It was first approved for public sector construction in 2001, which limited the design-build method to transit operators for projects of at least $10 million. The design-build method was amended over the years, and in 2015, SB 785 went into effect and streamlined the design-build process into a single statute that was applicable to local agencies, including cities. The California State Legislative Analyst's Office in 2010 summarized 15 design-build projects awarded by counties and made several observations. These observations would be used to support an expanded design-build statute available for more agencies and project types throughout the state. First, the Legislative Analyst's Office found that 5 of the completed projects, 2 were completed below estimated costs, 2 were completed at the estimated cost, and 1 was approximately 5% over cost. Second, of the 5 projects completed, all finished close to their target complete date, while 1 was completed 2 months earlier, and the longest delay was 3 months on a scheduled 16-month project. Lastly, all 15 projects were awarded on a best value basis and not lowest bidder. The Legislative Analyst's Office concluded that the information provided by the counties, quote, did not provide any evidence that would discourage the legislature from granting design-build authority on an ongoing basis to local agencies, end quote. The benefits of the design-build method are greater flexibility in awarding a contract, higher quality work, greater cost certainty, fewer claims, faster project completion, fewer change orders, and a singular point of accountability, eliminating finger pointing between the designer and the contractor. The design-build law is located at Public Contract Code sections 22-160 through 22-169. This method is available for cities to use for projects that are at least $1 million, and it can only be used for the construction of a building or buildings, such as a fire station, and improvements directly related to the construction of a building or buildings, and wastewater facilities, solid waste management facilities, water recycling facilities, transit facilities, and park and recreation facilities. The design-build method does not include the construction of other infrastructure, such as streets and highways, public rail transit, or water resources, facilities, and infrastructure. Other conditions required by the design-build law are a pre-qualification process, which requires establishing a conflict policy and determining whether the contract will be awarded on a low bid or best value basis. The Public Contract Code section 22-164 subparagraphs A through C lay out the process the city must follow to pre-qualify contractors that are interested in responding to a request for proposals for a design bid project. The pre-qualification process requires the city to prepare a set of documents setting forth the scope and estimated price of the project and request. At a minimum, the following information from interested design-build entities. 1, the type of entity and the listing of its personnel. 2, licenses, registrations, and other credentials. 3, documentation showing that the entity can obtain payment and performance bonds, insurance, and errors and omissions insurance. 4, is workers' compensation history and a worker safety program. 5, the entity's organizational documents. 6, a safety record based on a 3-year period. 7, an enforceable commitment to the city that the entity and its subcontractors will use a skilled and trained workforce. Next, Public Contract Code Section 22162C requires the local agency to develop an organizational conflict of interest policy. The main elements of the policy should include detailed descriptions of organizational conflicts of interest, situations when an entity may have a conflict, the obligations of the entity when an actual or potential conflict may exist, and how the entity must provide this information to the city. Additionally, the conflict policy must impose continuing obligations on the entity to monitor and disclose any conflicts that may occur after the contract is awarded. If a conflict is disclosed after the award, the city may terminate the contract if warranted. The entity that discovers the conflict must prepare a full written disclosure and description of action that it proposes to take to prevent or mitigate the conflict. The Public Contract Code Section 22164, subparagraphs D through F, lays out the request for proposal process for a design-build project. Only pre-qualified contractors or entities may respond to a design-build RFP. The RFP should identify the basic scope and needs of the project or contract, the estimated cost of the project, and the methodology that will be used by the city to evaluate proposals. The request for proposal, or RFP, must state whether the contract will be awarded on the basis of low bid or best value. The RFP should include any other information deemed necessary by the city to inform interested entities of the contracting opportunity, and the RFP should state the significant factors that the city reasonably expects to consider in evaluating proposals, including but not limited to cost or price and all non-price related factors, and the relative importance or the weight assigned to each of the factors identified in the RFP. If the city chooses to use best value selection method, the city at a minimum must consider 3 statutorily mandated criteria, which are price, technical design and construction expertise, and the life cycle costs over 15 years or more, when determining which entity's proposal provides the best value to the city. The Public Works Department intends to utilize the design-build method for the design and construction of the La Colonia skate park, and this would be the first project in the city to be procured and completed under the design-build method. There is no financial impact associated with the passage of this resolution.